guys, today I'm gonna be reacting to a video called 12 Most Amazing Chateaux in France. So I'm excited to check this out, so come join me.
12 Most Amazing Chateaux in France. But first, thanks French guy for leaving us this comment. We hope you're watching this video about your country. Let us know which chateau is your favorite and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. Numéro 12. Azay-le-Rideau. There is an enormous amount of chateaux scattered throughout the country of France, and especially in the Loire River Valley, found a couple hundred miles southwest of Paris. During the 16th century, one of the most influential monarchs of France, François I, shifted power from Paris and into the Loire River Valley. This region became the preferred area for French upper class to spend their time during the Renaissance. The original site of Azay-le-Rideau was home to a medieval castle, but the one we see in modern times was built between 1518 and 1527. It was built by Gilles Berthelot, that we see in this portrait, who had a prominent role in handling the king's finances. The picturesque chateau is surrounded by wooded forest and water, which make it a beautiful example of French architecture during this period of time. Numéro 11. Chateaux. Also located in the Loire River Valley, Chateaux is an iconic chateau that sits on top of the river Cher.
Oh my god, that's
the second most visited chateau in France.
It's so big.
800,000 visitors in 2007. The original castle that stood here was burnt down, but a more impressive piece of architecture took its place in 1522 after 8 years of construction.
Oh my god, but it's so old.
It displays an impressive mix of Gothic and Renaissance-style architecture, and it was home to many wealthy residents, including Catherine de' Medici, who was Queen of France from 1547 to 1559. While it was under her control, she added many beautiful gardens. Inside, it displays an amazing art gallery. It also features many rooms in great condition, such as the room of François I. The room of Catherine de' Medici is extremely well decorated and showing off incredible artwork.
Quite opulent.
Numéro 10. Chateau d'Ussé. This chateau also is a good example of Renaissance-style architecture found in the Loire River Valley. It was declared as a historical monument in 1931, but is still a privately owned building that's open to the public. It actually belongs to the descendant of the duke that once inhabited the chateau.
Oh my god,
he's nice enough to let people in. Due to its picturesque architecture, it inspired Walt Disney when creating the Sleeping Beauty.
It looks like a fairy tale.
You can see scenes from this fairy tale with wax mannequins. It's also notable for its garden terrace where orange trees were cultivated.
Orange trees? Oh my god.
Chateau de Blois. Certainly the most notable building in the city of Blois, located halfway between the city of Tours and Orléans. Many are fascinated with the amazing detail put into this chateau, especially with the staircase and facade. The staircase that rises 5 stories is a magnificent piece of architecture that was added by François I. The chateau started off as a feudal castle, but it was transformed into a masterpiece during the early 16th century. François I spent little time here, but instructed that Blois be home to the royal library, which was then later on moved to another chateau. Here you'll also find the Chambre du Roi, which is where King Henry IV spent much of his time. There's plenty of rooms here, 564 total, with 75 staircases, making this a pretty massive chateau.
It looks like a government
building. Numéro 8. De Sully-sur-Loire. The area de Sully-sur-Loire fortifies has possibly been occupied since Gallo-Roman times. It was originally intended to be a fortification to protect the Loire River in the 12th century, but major changes were made in the 17th century in order for it to be turned into a palatial estate. Buildings for farming, a church, thicker walls, and stables were introduced, making this a formidable stronghold. The fort suffered some damage during World War II, but in modern times, it's been restored and still a popular tourist attraction.
Oh my god, I love the little
Numéro 7. Le Chateau de Langeais. Situated in the commune of Langeais in the department of Indre-et-Loire, it has a more apparent medieval architecture than some others mentioned on this list. However, it's still been occupied in both medieval times and the Renaissance, and was even home to King Louis XI. The chateau is home to numerous sieges, but most notably during the 100-Year War with the English, when they destroyed a large portion of it. In 1886, the chateau was restored and fitted with the remarkable collection of tapestries and furniture that you see here. The notable feature of this chateau is its highly decorated chimney pieces.
Oh my god, they have like 4 chimneys? Like how many chimneys?
Chateau Villandry is one of the last chateaux constructed in the Loire River Valley in 1536. It's known for its elegant gardens, which are highly decorated and take up 2 acres of land. Located just a few kilometers from the city of Tours, the Renaissance-style architecture is rather clear and bears very little examples of medieval architecture besides the one tower that was used as fortification. Visitors can spend almost all day exploring the vast gardens. It was originally inhabited by the Baron Jean Le Breton, who worked several roles for François I. The property remained a part of the Le Breton family up until the French Revolution. It was later inhabited by the brother of Napoleon, Jérôme Bonaparte.
Oh, okay. Fit for a king.
Numéro 5. Chateau des Ducs de Bretagne. Despite the name, this chateau is not situated in the province of Bretagne, or Brittany in English, but in the heart of the city of Nantes in western France, in the Loire-Atlantique department. However, it was a part of Bretagne up until 1941. It served as a residence for the Dukes of Brittany and is entirely surrounded by a moat. This chateau serves as a museum to visitors of Nantes currently, which hosts a variety of different exhibits. Originally built as a military fortress, that role disappeared in the late 16th century. The most notable historical event that took place here was the signing of the Edict de Nantes, which gave Protestants newly found rights at a time when France was primarily Catholic.
Okay, that's good.
Numéro 4. Chateau de Chantilly. Finally, we venture off from the Loire River Valley Chateau and into a town of Chantilly, located northeast of Paris. This chateau is comprised of two main parts, the Petit Chateau, built in the 16th century, and the Grand Chateau, which was destroyed during the French Revolution, but later repaired in the 1870s. What you most need to know about this chateau is that it's the current location of Musée Condé, which houses the second largest collection of paintings in France after the Louvre. This includes works by Raphael, Fra Angelico, and Nicolas Poussin.
Okay, so it's like an art gallery.
Numéro 3. Fontainebleau. Located southwest of Paris, the Fontainebleau is certainly one of the largest chateaux and palaces in France. It dates back to the 1100s and was used by French royalty from Louis VII to Napoleon III. Completely surrounded by forests and artificial lakes, it was a favorite hunting lodge of royalty. The medieval castle that stood at this location was given a serious upgrade by the architect Gilles Le Breton, once again by Francois I. King Henry IV made additional upgrades to the palace, devoting much of his time to parks and gardens around the chateau. This lavish palace even served as a prison to a pope after Napoleon had conquered the Papal States. It continued to serve as a residence for Napoleon and Napoleon's relatives, and their bedrooms are quite decorated. Many leaders of France have their own bedroom here, but one of the most impressive is that of Queen Mother Anne of Austria that we see here. The history of this amazing chateau continues even to the Second World War, and it was used as a headquarters for NATO until 1966.
What? That's crazy.
Numéro 2.
That's headquarters?
The most well-known and debatably the most beautiful chateau in the Loire River Valley is the Chateau de Chateaux. It displays distinct French Renaissance architecture, and when construction began in 1519, it was built specifically to act as the hunting lodge of Francois I. Francois spared no expense in having this one completed, and some even believe that Leonardo da Vinci was involved in the design. The primary architect was Domenico da Cortana from Italy, who also helped design the Hôtel de Ville in Paris. The northwestern facade of this iconic building is quite imposing, and it displays nearly perfect symmetry. This could certainly be the most impressive building constructed under the impactful rule of Francois I.
Absolutely, yes. It's quite stunning. Okay, what's the first? Oh,
the most well-known popular chateau to visit in France is often considered to be the Chateau of Versailles, located on the Île-de-France region, situated 12 miles southwest of Paris. This was also originally built as a royal hunting lodge, and it's a prime example of royalty in France indulging before the French Revolution. Construction began with King Louis XIII, and it quickly became the new seat of French royalty. It was then home to King Louis XIV. The Hall of Mirrors is renowned for its elegance and numerous chandeliers. Here we see the opulent queen's apartment that you can tell is pretty fancy. The sophisticated gardens of Versailles are unmatched in France and are complete with orangeries. It's been the location of many important treaties that would change history and is estimated to be worth $50 billion. But it's not for sale.
Yeah, I obviously, like, it's not for sale. Yeah, of course. Like who's gonna buy it? Like, I don't think anyone, like, even I think the richest people, or even I don't know who's like the richest person in the world, but I don't think like even they can actually like afford this. But it's crazy. And also I think it's property. I don't know, like it's valued, but I think it's not, I think that's not like private owned. I believe like Versailles, like the owner is just like the country of France. I don't think they have like a private owner as in like, oh, I'm signing the deed. No, it's just like France, the government, well, not the government. France isn't like the country itself. Like, I think that those are the owners of Versailles. But this was incredible. I have to say, Francois I, I think that was his name. Who was this guy? Like, obviously he was some sort of king. I want to say king, because obviously the Francois I, I think it's obviously royalty. But like, who was this guy? And I want to know more about him, because he owned, or he lived in like, it was 12 castles, and like out of like, I don't know, 5 or 6, like this guy either owned them, lived there, or commissioned them, or, you know, he was related in some sort of way to these chateaus. So who was this guy? Was he just like, I don't know, loved architecture, or was he, I don't know, like fascinated by buy houses. And come on, like you don't need. I get like it's funny. I have to say that I get why like the French Revolution happened. Like it's funny. Obviously, I'm making a joke of this, but if you see like all this incredible luxury, these incredible chateaus, and this is just like a selection of 12. I can see like why would a peasant in like the 17th century 18th century, like how come like they would lead the revolution? Like, well, look at all these castles. Like, of course, like they're gonna like the common people, the common folk are gonna be like, you know what, like this is not fair. Like you shouldn't live like that. So is seeing it like this, and this like great selection, like I can see why they had a revolution, because people were like, I've had it with all these like fancy people, fancy monarchy, and all these fancy chateaus and all these incredible opulent chateaus. Like there's no need for this. Like come on, you need what, like 400 rooms? Like what would you need that for? And all of them, it's funny that a lot of them, I think over half of them were in the Loire region. I think that's how it's pronounced. So it is like I can imagine they're quite like near each other. Not obviously asking, your neighbor, it's the chateau. No, but it's just like they're quite like, they're not that separated. So, and even back in the day, I can only imagine they have like even fewer people. Obviously, it's just in the planet. Of course, there's fewer people. So it's like, why would you need like a room with that many like rooms? That's crazy. Unless it was a hotel, and I don't think hotels were a thing, because again, like there was no need back in the day for a hotel. So this is insane. But I love that how well preserved they are. Like they are, a lot of them, not to say all of them, were like built in the 1500s, around the 1500s. And like obviously I have no doubt that they have been repaired, and they have been, because some of them were damaged in World War II, or in conflicts in history, like it was like the 100-year war, or just like conflicts in general. Of course, like it's hard for a piece of like, for a building to stand like that long, like how many years. And it's crazy that they are incredibly well preserved to the point where you can just visit them and they are incredible. Like I love the fact that they have like antique furniture that you can tell it was from, if not exactly that period of time, just around that time. So I love the fact that they are so well preserved, and it's just not like the architecture itself, like you can see like how beautiful it is, and maybe obviously if like the architects would know more about it, but it's like you see it and you're like, well, this is incredible, it looks very beautiful. But not only that, and you can just sort of like admire the great, like, I don't know, I can't believe they built this 400 years ago. But again, because they're all decorated like in this incredible way that they have like, some of them have house like it's incredible and antique paintings. Some of them, I think all of them had actual like recreations of the rooms, and they were the actual rooms that those people that lived there used. So it is kind of incredible that you can really do take a look at the past and see how people lived back in the day. And again, it's not just the architecture, it's just actually like you can see it inside. You can see the decor and how opulent everything was. You can see how like how taste has changed. Because I think these days, I think it's not that common. Like that type of decor is not that common. I think from the past, I don't know, like I want to say just like in the modern era, like it's not that common to have like this sort of like incredible tapestry. And like 1,000 paintings and those type of paintings. I think people these days lean probably more towards like photograph and stuff like that. But I think something more minimalistic, I think it's in fashion, and has been in fashion, in architecture, in decor, in just way of living for people. I think it's been in for, I don't know, the past decade, or over the past decade. I think it's been more, people have been like trying to scale back. So it's funny that you can really see like how taste has changed throughout history, because it's like, no, this was like this was all the rage back in the day. Like you can just do what you just want to prove that you were rich. I think like, hey, I have a lot of things, and look at like this incredible art that I'm able to have like in my beautiful house with like 500 rooms. Like I think it was more like that. But again, I would love to know what's the deal with this Francois the First. I think it was Francois the First, because again, it's like, how come he has like how many castles, how many houses did that guy need? Because it's like, I think he's overdoing it. Although I have to say, thanks to him, like we are able to have these like today. So well, you know what, I don't know, he was doing it with that in mind, as in like, oh, my future generations are gonna see this and we're gonna be marveled by it. I don't think that was the case, but he looks like a very incredible and interesting character, and would love to know more about him. But yes, this was very beautiful. I loved all of them. I love all the incredible like gardens they all have. I think all of them, I think most of them had incredible gardens. Not all of them, but I think most of them. I think that was probably my favorite part because they're so well maintained, and I cannot even imagine like how many, even like in this day and age, how many people it takes them to actually like take care of all these gardens. And if it's marvelous to think of like that, and the amount of effort it takes to actually like take care of them in this day and age, I cannot even imagine like how it was, 400 years ago, when people obviously didn't really have the modern technology that we have these days. So again, how many people did they need to actually like maintain all of this? But again, I love all the gardens. I love the decor. I think those were probably my favorite parts. Although I have to say, two little details. I love the one with all the chimneys. That was like, how many chimneys again? I know that it's like you're seeing it like that, and I wasn't seeing like the facade. I was like, oh yeah, it's very pretty. But I wasn't noticing how many chimneys they had, and I was like, that's a weird looking castle, just the outside. But I do have to say that I love the fact that one of them, I can't remember, it was Chateaux, I can't remember like the name of the castle, but like today, it belongs to the family, like the descendants of the ones that built this. Or it's like, okay, that's incredible. And what a feat to maintain, like to have able to maintain like this chateau in the family for like hundreds of years. That's incredible to me, because a lot of like, how many stuff happens, like people, again, it's not easy to maintain like a piece of property for like that amount of time, for like 300-400 years. So what a feat. Like, I love that. It's incredible. And the fact that like you can really do see where your ancestors lived. Love that. And I would definitely love to visit probably all of them. But yes, I think the gardens are probably my favorite part. And of course, Versailles is going to be the first one. I felt a little silly when it was like, of course, Versailles is a chateau. I thought it was going to be like something else. But if you think about it, it's like, of course, it's like the most famous castle in all of France. Of course, it's gonna be Versailles. But yeah, this was a very, very pretty video, very interesting video. And that was it for today. And I'll see you soon. Bye.